This is KHQA This Morning, working for you.
Good Friday morning. I'm Jenny Drasler. It is September 9th, and this morning we begin with breaking news this morning out of North Korea, where the U.S. Geological Survey is now reporting a 5.3 magnitude earthquake in North Korea with a depth of 0 kilometers. Now, here's what we know at this hour. Around 10:30 last night, South Korea's Meteorological Administration believes that the earthquake was artificial, meaning it could imply a nuclear test. Now, as of 1:30 this morning, those theories were confirmed. The BBC reports that North Korea claims success in its 5th nuclear test. The BBC also reporting that North Korea is testing nuclear warheads that'll be able to attach to ballistic rockets. South Korean military experts say the explosive tests vary between 10 and 20 kilotons. Now, to put that into perspective, the atomic bomb that the U.S. dropped on Japan to end World War II was only 15 kilotons. Back stateside we go this morning to Alpine, Texas, where a community is still in a state of confusion this morning after one of its local teens shot at her classmates before shooting and killing herself. Officials evacuated the school and locked it down as the district sheriff there says that a 14-year-old freshman opened fire at the school, injuring one student before eventually killing herself. Authorities are still investigating how and why this 14-year-old girl caused such chaos. The sheriff, speaking for the community, speaking out saying that he wonders what was going through the shooter's mind and says he just doesn't understand how a good student could do something so horrible. 5:35 on the local front. We now have an update in the Curtis Loveless murder trial. The hearing set to take place on Thursday has now been pushed to the end of September. Special Prosecutor Ed Parkinson tells me that the hearing is now scheduled for September 30th at 10 a.m. He says this will, quote, give both parties time to file additional motions and or respond to those on file, end quote. The hearing will take place in Adams County. On the docket for discussion is a possible change of venue. I'm also being told exclusively that Sangamon County is being thrown into the mix. Meanwhile, here's an update to a story that we've followed for more than a year and a half. This Hannibal man is charged with abusing his then 3-month-old child, was sentenced to 15 years in prison on Thursday. Eugene Melton was arrested in December of 2014 after his baby was treated for a broken femur, bite marks, and bleeding in the brain. Melton pleaded guilty to the charge in July. He received the maximum sentence for the crime under Missouri law.
Well, heavy rains around the world is causing one disaster after another. Today, we take a look at Central America, where a mudslide in southern Guatemala killed at least 9 people Wednesday, according to a local firefighter. Now, heavy rains are believed to have caused this mudslide. Look at that, just wow, devastating. It just shows you how powerful just rain can be.
I feel like they've just had so much going on over there recently too, and this just adds to that.
And just one more thing for them to have to deal with. Yeah, sad story there. Here in the Tri-States, we are talking more rain for us as well, as temperatures continue to be a little mild this morning.
I'm Officer Kelly Vandermaiden with this week's Crime Stoppers Fugitive of the Week. We need your help to find 21-year-old Amber Lee Kaufman. She's a white female, 5 feet 5 inches tall, and weighs 150 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. Her last known address was in the 2100 block of South 8th Street in Quincy. Amber Kaufman is wanted by the Adams County Sheriff's Department for failure to appear, possession of meth, and forgery. If you know where tonight's fugitive can be found, please call the Quincy Regional Crime Stoppers hotline at area code 217-228-4474. Or you can text TIPS, QRCS, and your information to 274637. You can also submit a tip by going to QuincyCrimeStoppers.com. If an arrest is made based on your tip, you'll be eligible for a cash reward.
Showdown in the Midwest. Was this Donald Trump's night to lose or Hillary's to win? We're live at Washington University from the presidential debate coming up.
And we have unseasonably mild temperatures to start off the new work week, but it doesn't last long. Your latest 7 Storm Team weather forecast coming up.
This is KHQA News at 10, working for you.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Rachel Pearson. Now, KHQA is the only local news station that is now live at the presidential debate in St. Louis. KHQA's Chad Douglas arrived on the campus late this morning. He's outside the debate hall right now. Good evening, Chad.
Hey, Rachel, let me give you set the tone for you real quickly here. Very busy place behind me here at the presidential debate inside. That's where the debate just wrapped up about 25 minutes ago. And the tone was set very cold right at the start of the debate. The two candidates came out. Normally, they shake hands and kind of greet one another. There was no handshake, no smile, nothing. Then it ended kind of warmly. A question from the audience asked for each candidate to say something nice and respectful about the other. Hillary Clinton said that she respects Donald Trump and his children, said that the children have been raised very well. Donald Trump said that was a great compliment and fired back and said Hillary is not a quitter and she is a fighter. So it ended on better terms. Now, going into this debate, it was kind of make it or break it for Trump after those tapes were leaked on Friday night into Saturday morning. A lot of people heard a lot of things this morning from the network shows that said that this is going to be all eyes on Trump. So depends on, I guess, which party who won or lost. I asked on Facebook and Twitter, saw a lot of people saying that Donald Trump won this debate and only a couple for Hillary Clinton. Now, going back to the scene here at Washington University, we got here just before noon today and talked to some students and everything. They said this whole week has been very exciting. All right, we're going to take it from here now. We're going to go inside the hall into what's called the spin room, where a lot of action's going on. Abigail James is in there live. We're going to be joining her in just a few minutes. For now, reporting live from St. Louis at Washington University, Chad Douglas, KHQA News.
Chad, thanks. New tonight at 10, that town hall-style debate featured questions from audience members as well as moderators, and it didn't take long for the sparks to start flying. CBS's Weijia Jiang reports from Washington University in St. Louis. Now, speaking of tonight's debate, KHQA will have a complete analysis and reaction from a panel of top political experts on Monday. This has been one of the most explosive campaigns for presidents in recent history. You can see how Americans react to both of these candidates, from senior political reporter Scott Thuman and Lisa Fletcher. To view the roundtable discussion, you can go to KHQA.com on Monday.
Now, your 7-storm team first forecast.
It was a very nice fall day all across the mid-Mississippi Valley as high pressure has firmly anchored itself in deep, and it's going to stick around here just for a short while longer. High temperatures well above where we should be for this time of year. 73 at Quincy, 78 at St. Louis, 72 at Kansas City, and a lot of clear sky.
I'm Chad Douglas. Our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting and KHQA, continue to work for you, keeping you informed on complex political issues facing our country, especially with Election Day just a couple months away. We continue our Connect to Congress initiative right now with Congressman Darren LaHood of Illinois. He joins us via satellite in Washington, D.C. Hello to you, Congressman.
Hey, Chad, great to be with you and your viewers today.
Glad you were here. Well, today, Vice President Joe Biden is joining the Democrats to call on Congress to act on Zika and other issues. The House is in session in D.C. for about another 8 weeks before the end of the year. What do you think are the most important issues you believe Congress needs to address before the end of the year?
Well, unfortunately, I think the Vice President and a number of the Democrats are playing politics with Zika. On June 23rd, the House of Representatives, in a bipartisan way, passed Zika funding. We've passed a bill, $1.1 billion for Zika. That passed the House of Representatives, went over to the Senate. The Senate now 3 different times has derailed the bill because of politics. And so it's very, very frustrating, Chad, as somebody that voted on this and wants to see the funding allocated, to not have this done. I thought our bill that we passed was, again, a very fiscally responsible bill. It's leftover funding from Ebola, about $600 billion. $600 million that would go to fund Zika. And unfortunately, just this week, the Senate Democrats, Harry Reid in particular, I think is playing politics. They want to make this an election year issue. This shouldn't be about elections. This shouldn't be about politics. This should be about getting funding to the folks in Florida and our southern border to get the proper funding that they need. And unfortunately, the Democrats are playing politics with it.
So do you think you'll have a resolution by the end of the month on Zika funding and maybe any other threats to the U.S.?
Well, listen, I think the Senate could vote maybe today or tomorrow on the Zika funding, the $1.1 billion. I hope they do that. That's what I've advocated for. I think that's what's best for the country. And so I'm going to continue to work with my Republican colleagues to make sure that we get the funding done. We've done our part in the House, and we're going to continue to do that. I hope the Democrats will do the same. We shouldn't be playing politics with Zika funding. I'll also mention to you, Chad, there's about $600 million that was left over from Ebola that the administration can use right now. They have not done that yet. They can do that on their own authority to do that. Holding that back is politics. That shouldn't be the case. We should do this in a bipartisan way like we did in the House on June 23rd when I supported that. I'm going to continue to advocate for that.
It is seconds in front of 5:55, and it's Friday for the Morning Brew. It's always our Friday favorite things. And Nick filling in for Tegan this morning. I had to call him yesterday and be like, find something you like, bring it in, all right?
Very rare opportunities on a Friday I'm going to be here, so I had to think.
Right.
I had to think about this coming up.
You have to think. We do it every week. And yesterday we teased a book for me that changed my life. And I thought, with no offense to Nick, I'm like, Tegan really needs to be here because she'll get the book. It's a children's book. So I'm going to save that, and Tegan's gone next Friday. So I'll save it for a couple weeks, but I have it. So since you're the guest, you may go first.
Okay. I'm a very kind of nerdy, geeky person.
Okay.
So my favorite thing is definitely my keyboard. I use on my computer. It's a little hard to see with the lighting in here, but it lights up. It's basically a light show at my fingertips. It's kind of insane.
So what's the purpose of the lighting?
I guess I like to edit videos and photos and things in the dark. Oh, look at this.
Look,
now we're making progress here. You can angle it that way. Basically, you can be able to see things a lot when you're working in the dark time. So also just looks super cool. So.
Do a lot of computing at night. So this thing is lit up all the time?
When the computer's on, yeah.
Okay, so you can turn it off. And where does one get such?
I bought this online on a website called eBay.
Oh, okay, yes. So. I'm familiar with that.
But yeah, they're pretty, you can find them around. Definitely not too hard to find. I think they're actually selling at Best Buy too. About $200 or so.
About $200, wow.
Yeah, a little bit pricey, but it's definitely probably the best thing I think I own for my computer at least.
Sure. So since we do this every week, I kind of have an ongoing list in my head of things I want to show off. And I almost brought something electronic today. Ooh, those lights got really bright. And I did not realize you were going to bring in, but I went totally like low key, and I brought my toothbrush holder. 5:18 is your time. State-to-state headlines now in Missouri. A state senator says aviation giant Boeing Corporation, which employs about 15,000 people in the St. Louis area, should be disqualified from receiving tax credits or investments because it's doing business with Iran. St. Louis County Republican Senator Eric Schmitz said that that Boeing should not receive those benefits after agreeing to sell and lease jets to Iran's state-owned airline.
5:19 in Illinois this morning, the Supreme Court has now overturned a law lowering juries in civil trials from 12 members to 6. The court ruled 5-0 on Thursday that the law is unconstitutional. Chief Justice Rita Garman determined in the court's opinion that the Illinois Constitution does not allow the legislature to alter the size of civil juries.
And now to Iowa. The University of Iowa officials say they are ready to take action to fight sexual abuse on campus after about 1 in 5 female students who responded to a voluntary online survey reported being raped. Officials said Wednesday that only 9.3% of UI students took the survey, but of those respondents, 21% of undergraduate females said they had been raped and 20.5% reported attempted rape. We've got a lot to get to on KHQA this morning. Coming up next, we've got your health and consumer news, plus a look at that weekend forecast. It's 5:19. Good morning to you. Here comes the clock. Look out, duck. Well, if you have a 3D TV, that's cool.
Construction on Shin Lane in Hannibal could be set in motion sooner rather than later. I'm TJ Weber. I'll have that story for you coming up next.
Showers and thunderstorms popping up ahead of a cold front making its way across the region. Will everybody get the rainfall? Your 7 Storm Team weather forecast coming up.
Plus, new developments in the case against a Quincy man accused of killing his wife. KHQA News at 5 starts now.
This is KHQA News at 5, working for you.
Lawyers for Curtis Loveless call phone records incomplete. Now, Loveless's defense has now filed a new motion in response to the state's motion to destroy Quincy Police Detective Adam Gibson's phone records.
Now, John Lovey with the Exoneration Project filed this 10-page document in Adams County today. According to these court documents, the defense says the phone records provided are incomplete. Lovey also argues Gibson did not properly document his conversations with numerous witnesses, including Loveless's second wife, Erica Gomez.
Now, Special Prosecutor Ed Parkinson would not comment on the defense's response to the prosecution's motion to destroy phone records. He tells KHQA he anticipates a change of venue will be discussed at next month's hearing. Loveless is accused of killing his first wife, Corey, in 2006. You can read those documents in full right now at KHQA.com.
Well, this Hannibal man on your screen is now behind bars for having an outstanding warrant and attempting to assault a police officer. Hannibal police say it happened today, this afternoon actually, in the 900 block of Broadway. Officers say when they approached 36-year-old Jason Coulter, they found he had a felony warrant in Illinois for obstructing an officer. When officers contacted Coulter, he resisted arrest and tried to hit one of the cops.
In other crime news in Hannibal, 2 Hannibal residents spent the night in jail for domestic assault and assaulting law enforcement officers. Police say it happened in the 1800 block of Hope around 1:45 p.m. on Wednesday. Now, this man on your screen, 22-year-old Curtis Warner, is accused of running from Hannibal police when he hit and injured an officer. Then, while the other officers were holding down Warner, his wife Sandra was next accused of charging at those officers. Well, new tonight at 5 o'clock as KHQA continues our back to school segment. Your child's safety is our top priority.
What you say to them before they leave for school could make all the difference. KHQA's Michael Pilarchi joins us live in a nearby neighborhood to explain. Michael.
I'm standing in a neighborhood directly behind Quincy High School. Places such as this one where students either walk to school or catch the bus could mean trouble. Now authorities are now urging parents to talk with your kids about stranger danger. According to kidshealth.org, almost all kids kidnapped by strangers are taken by men, and about 2/3 of stranger abductions involve female children. Stephanie Lawson says she'd be devastated if anything were to happen to her grandkids.
I don't think I'd make it without them. They're pretty much our life.
There you go. Now walk. How do you get on these things?
Parents, this is what you can expect on KHQA News at 6. A few tips from the Quincy Police Department to help you and your child be smart about school safety. Live in Quincy, Michael Pilarchi, KHQA News.
Now, your 7-storm team first forecast.
Been looking at scattered showers and a few thunderstorms that have been flaring up with the afternoon heat. And in addition to that, we've got a cold front that's approaching from the northwest. In addition, because of the atmosphere and the way things are set up, we've also had some reports of some funnel clouds that have dropped out of the sky in across parts of northern Hancock County and across McDonough County. Now, these are usually harmless. They're very short duration type funnel clouds. They rarely touch the ground and become tornadoes, but just kind of keep that in mind here. That condition may exist here for the next hour or so. So in the meantime, how warm is it? We didn't get as warm as originally expected because we've had more cloud cover than anything else. 83 now at Quincy Regional, 92 at St. Louis, 80 at Kansas City. You put the humidity in there, it feels like 91 at Quincy, 84 in Kansas City, and a whopping 101 at the Gateway City. So with that said, scattered showers and a few thunderstorms have been flaring up because of the afternoon heat, and in addition, a cold front approaching from the northwest. It's cleared central Iowa and far northwestern Missouri. It's slowly making progress to the southeast. Thus, we've got these showers and a few thunderstorms. Now, the line from Peoria southward, just south of the immediate tri-states, that's not the cold front. The cold front still has to make its way through across the region. That'll happen later on tonight. 71 the low, mostly cloudy sky. Thunderstorms gradually ending here in the next 5-6 hours or so. The wind shifting to the west at 5 to 10. And then for your Saturday, things looking okay. A mix of clouds and sun. High temperatures in the mid-80s, noticeably less humid. What about the rest of the weekend? We'll tell you about that coming up in a few minutes.
Rich, thanks. Well, listen to this. Federal health regulators have now announced plans to crack down on social media use in nursing homes.
Recent inspections across the country show nursing home employees using social media to embarrass home residents. Local nursing homes right here in Illinois are now continuing to monitor all of their employees. Sunset Home Social Services Director says that a social media policy is all a part of corporate compliance, and employees are not allowed to have cell phones on the floor at any time.
So when you come in, it's no longer like you see everybody walking around with their phones in their hand. You can't do that anymore because you've basically walked into somebody else's home once you've walked into a nursing home. It's the resident's home. So you can't be, just taking pictures randomly like you might do out on the street or in the stores.
Well, here's what's next. Jenny Yeager says that a social media code of conduct meeting will be used as a reminder at the next all-staff meeting.
Happening today, the Lampe high-rise apartments meal site in Quincy opened for senior citizens 60 years and older. The new meal site is open to all residents of Lampe and the surrounding neighborhood. The project collaborated with the Quincy Housing Authority, Illinois Division of Rehabilitative Services, and Meals. Plus, for seniors, lunches are open to individuals as well as their live-in caregiver or spouse on a donation basis. Everyone under 60 years of age are required to pay $6. It's all to ensure the daily recommended nutritional requirements are met.
Well, it is Friday, and that means it is time for your County Market Barbecue on the Patio. Let's check in with KHQA's David Amlati to see what they are cooking up today.
Raja, I've been waiting to say this all day. TGIF, my goodness, we're out here on the KHQA patio for Barbecue on the Patio, sponsored by County Market. Just want to remind everybody, and right now the air is filled with peaches. Maya's here with me. Right now we have meat down on the grill, but what exactly are we cooking today?
Okay, so we just have some regular pork chops, and then we have some tomahawk pork chops, and then we just have the peach glaze, which is just peaches that we blended and kind of like a marmalade type style. And as the pork chops are cooking, we're just adding the glaze.
Wonderful. And today's theme is peaches. How are we going to be incorporating the fruit into our barbecue today, aside from the marmalade?
We also are going to be grilling some peaches that we have, so we'll just put those on the grill for a couple minutes. And then we're going to sprinkle some brown sugar and glaze them with honey.
Maya, I'm so excited to be out here with you today. Really excited to see how this meat turns out. We'll check in just a few minutes. For now, I'm going to send things back into the studio.
Now, as you just saw, they'd already started cleanup beginning this morning. The real cleanup will start this morning as city services will start removing debris from curbsides.
It may take a few days to get everything cleaned up, but thankfully not as bad as it was last year.
A year ago.
Well, now let's move to Hannibal to look at some of the damage there.
KHQA's Raina Harvey is live in Central Park in America's hometown this morning. Raina, what are you seeing?
Chad and Jenny, this is the scene this morning in Hannibal Central Park. As you look to my right, you can see this massive tree right here lost one of its limbs, and there are branches scattered all over the park this morning. There are already some community members out here on scene participating in that cleanup efforts. And now we're going to show you this image. This happened yesterday. This was an accident involving a car carrier trailer on Highway 61. That's between the city of New London and Hannibal. As you can see, there were branches that were literally ripped from the tree limbs and a lot of tree damage there. Now back out here live, we're going to move over to the city of Monroe City, where our photojournalist Nick Stewart has the cleanup efforts there. Now, Chad and Jenny, I'll be on scene here in Central Park in Hannibal for the rest of the morning, and we'll start to see some crews coming in because they're going to start picking up all of this debris that you can just see. I mean, literally, Chad and Jenny, I could fit inside of here, but Joe, who's my photojournalist with me today, said not to get too far under this because it might fall on me. This is also a warning to the viewers at home that if you have any massive trees like this next to your windows during storms like that, make sure you take cover and stay away. Chad and Jenny.
Well, there are some quadrangulars and some tournaments prior to it, but truthfully, it never truly feels like the high school golf season has arrived until the Quincy High Invitational, the former Dawn Sloan, rolls out the green carpet at Westview to a full field. That day was this day. Some interesting weather today, but you know what? Edwardsville may have come in as the consensus favorite. They had to play on Quincy High and Quincy Notre Dame's home track. Zach Clyott with a brilliant approach here on number one, but his birdie attempt just turns left at the last nanosecond. He has to settle for a par. He ends up finishing ninth individually with a 78 on the day. Jimmy Patterson on number 9 right here with a birdie attempt. Couldn't get that down. He would get up and down for par from there. Finished 14th with an 80 overall. Cooper Larson, the star for the Blue Devils today. He struggled early when I caught him right here, though. Ended up rallying back in the back 9. Finished 4th with a 76. Quincy High, 3rd as a team. The story on this day, Quincy Notre Dame upending Quincy High School and Edwardsville. Starts with Reese Dreyer. Birdie attempt on 11. Not quite, but that's an easy par. More on him in a second. Nate Habing doing his thing right here on 13. Beautiful approach. Has a birdie attempt and a birdie drainage right there. Finished 4th on the day, tie for 76. I should have said 76, not 75 earlier, but he was requited with the putt. David Hudson, strong early right here, trying to get back to red numbers as he was even par at that point. Robbed on number 15, would make up for it with his birdie bomb on number 16 as well. Went out in 36 today, would finish with an 81. That just signals how balanced Quincy Notre Dame was today as a team. Great effort all the way around. Headlined by this guy, Reese Dreyer, here on number 14. up and down and pretty for Mr. Dreyer, who would win individual medalist honors today in a scorecard playoff. He would also lead the Raiders to a team victory in most impressive fashion as Quincy Notre Dame gets it done today. Huge feather in the cap for the Raiders as they start their season off right in this one. We take you to the scoreboard. Quincy Notre Dame beating Quincy High School by 8 strokes, beating Edwardsville by 2. But again, Edwardsville has just about everybody back from last season. That's a huge win. And again, Reese Dreyer with a 73 on the day for medalist honors. Quincy Notre Dame getting a little early momentum on the season, and that was good to see for them. Also in golf today, up at Macomb at the Saunders Invitational, the Bombers finished 5th. I think that was a 15-team field. Nick Elting, though, from Macomb, was your low bomber and a top 3 individual winner today, or top 3 individual finisher, I should say, with a 78 on the day as well. Some soccer. Canton remains undefeated in the early season, going on the road to Kirksville today and scoring 3 goals, beating Kirksville 3-1. Daniel Welch already with 2 goals on the season, 1 golden goal yesterday to help his team to victory over Hannibal as well. And we, my friends, are just getting warmed up here. As I mentioned, we're going to preview the soccer season for you. Coming up next and a little later in the show, we're talking all things high school football. We'll break down last night for you as well when Overtime Motorsport.
This is KHQA News at 10, working for you.
We begin with our top story tonight, the wet weather. Rain caused the rollover crash you're looking at on your screen on I-72. A pickup truck was pulling another truck when officials say it fishtailed out of control. The driver and passenger rolled off the south side of the road, causing both vehicles to roll over. Now, Pike County Sheriff's Department and Hull Fire Department responded. The eastbound lane was closed for more than an hour. The good news is there were only minor injuries in the situation. Authorities say it could have been much worse. And again, that wet weather, we had it today, Nick, and you were saying the wet weather is to stay for the remainder of this 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do have a little bit more rain in store. So if you're driving out there, make sure you take extra careful. Make sure you're very careful when driving out there, especially at night when you really can't see those flooded roadways. We have flash flood watches are in effect for much of the tri-states for the next several days until Monday morning. This is a map at it right now. Just within the last few minutes, the National Weather Service kind of shaved off the northern tier of our viewing area from that watch area. However, we're just really starting to kind of get a better idea of where that heavy rain is going to fall. And that includes the heart of the tri-state area. That includes the Quincy, Hannibal area and Point South. The major flooding is going to likely be right along that, Interstate 72 and Highway 36 line. So looking at the current radar and satellite composite, we can start to see that heavy rain beginning to move in from the southwest. A wider view does show that precipitation really beginning to intensify near the Kansas City metro. That's going to move in. That's going to be our second wave of rainfall, which is going to move through tonight and into tomorrow morning. A first look at our forecast tomorrow. Rain, rain, and rain for your Sunday. We're going to be pretty cool as well as a high, only reaching up to 68 degrees. And unfortunately, we're going to be dealing with very wet conditions for your rest of your weekend. But your 4th of July weekend, a little bit better. We'll talk about it coming up next.
All right, Nick, thanks. New at 10 tonight, more than 800 Palmyra, Missouri residents are without power. This happened late this afternoon at 1410 West Blind. That's where a utility pole broke. It actually snapped in the air, causing 2 circuits to fail. Again, this happened just before 7 p.m. An employee of the Board of Public Works confirmed crews were working to restore power to more than 880 customers. Well, take a look at this incredible video staying in Palmyra of a semi-truck on its side in a ditch near Palmyra, Missouri. This happened just after 3 o'clock this afternoon north of the Fabius River. Now, according to Missouri State Highway Patrol Corporal Paul Behrens, the wet road conditions played a major factor.
Due to the weather conditions that we had today with the heavy rains and locally heavy rainfall, some of the bridges that we have hold a little bit of water, and this particular instance, one of the trucks that was coming through hit one of those water spots on the bridge and then hydroplaned, which caused it to run off the road and overturn.
Now, there were no injuries. Drivers are advised to take extra caution and slow down as visibility can decrease with the rain. Well, new at 10, one man is now dead after crashing his vehicle on County Highway 11 in Pike County this morning. Early in the morning, it happened just 2 miles north of Pleasant Hill. Christopher R. Watts of Nauvoo, Illinois, was trying to pass another vehicle around a curve when he lost control and flipped multiple times on the road. Pike County Sheriff's deputies say Watts was not wearing his seat belt, and authorities suspect alcohol was involved. The investigation is ongoing. Well, happening today, National Tom Sawyer Days continues in Hannibal, even with the damp conditions. KHQA's Taylor Anderson shows you how the rain didn't stop the fun for those who visited.